I'm making this video on my 1972 Yamaha SR250 that I bought on Facebook Marketplace that I decided to convert into a fully electric motorcycle. I've done some smaller projects in the past. I've done a four-wheeler, the e-bike you see in the background there I converted, a 5K hub motor, and I just thought I'd roll my dice. Something I could street legal, have a lot of fun with, get decent range, decent speeds. The speed was a lot more than I anticipated, but who's going to complain about that? So the first thing I did was I stripped the bike down and determined how I was going to make my brackets, my motor mounts. I already had an idea what motor and controller and battery I was going to use. Like I said, I've done a couple of these in the past, never with a motorcycle, but I knew enough information to know what kind of speeds typically I should get. I used a QS 180 motor. Those motors are very heavy, so the first thing I did is 3D printed half the motor just to kind of give me some maneuverability to figure out how I was going to make my motor mounts, where the motor was going to sit. It's a lot easier than manhandling that. I think the motor weighs like 80-90 pounds. It was decently heavy. So this is my first mount here. Just mocking stuff up, and you can see here that I painted it. I did decide that was the one I was going to use, pretty thick steel. I did one on the other side as well. Primed the bike here, and here you can see I did mount the motor. There's a mount on both sides. The other one's not as big, but it's definitely there. The other side's so full because I used it as a chain guard as well to kind of help me, so your foot, none of that stuff gets stuck in there that you don't want. Put a new headlight on it, new tires. This is where I built my battery mount to sit underneath the gas tank. It seems to hold up pretty well. Like I said, I used angle iron and painted everything black, mounted it all in there, and it does pretty well. It doesn't seem to move or anything. It's pretty solid. Here's where I mounted the controller. It's a QS 72 volt 1800. I think I'm giving it about 380 line amps. So it does very well. Like I said, it's a lot quicker than I anticipated, but who's going to complain about that? It does very well for what it is. Had to mount, weld in different brackets for my tail light, welded in some brackets for the seat to bolt to. Like I said, new tire, wired up all the turn signals, lights, etc. That was mostly the challenging part, was wiring everything, adding the relays. Here I painted the bike gloss white, kept it simple. Bonded the tank, redid the emblems, added different mirrors, added a different front light and tail light. And here is where I mounted the battery in there. It's in there pretty snug. You can't remove the battery without removing the tank. I kind of planned it that way. That battery was not cheap, so I wanted to make sure if anybody did decide to get it, they're going to either take the whole bike or have a lot of time to remove the whole fuel tank, which is obviously always empty now. Here's the bike once I finished it. For the most part, I still had the emblems I was doing. I really enjoyed this build. It was a lot of fun. I've had it for over a year. I can get about 80 miles on a charge. I've had it up to about 120. It does really well. Here's the other side of it. I've replaced the chain and some of the bearings and all that stuff that makes it sound. It actually rides very true. I figured there was going to be some wobble, some shaking, but it seems to be very balanced. Like I said, I've had it up to 120 and it does very well. Here's a small video, me and my wife. This is one of the other little e-bikes I was mentioning. I converted to about 40 miles an hour, 50. We're just cruising down the road here. Sorry, drag videos and me giving it the beans, but it's very pleasurable and fun to ride, and I really enjoyed it.